on. Okay. I am not going to be my dad. Thank you very much.
Is there just 5 people? 7
They're
people?
getting let in.
Addie, your name is John Schneider.
I know. I'm on my dad's computer.
Oh, well, why can't you take Addie Schneider?
Well, I was at Josh Carlson, so I can't talk.
Axel,
Yes.
I'm sorry I couldn't call you yesterday.
Yeah, I'll call you right after Read Aloud. Okay?
Hello,
Yeah.
everybody.
19.
Did you get an answer on that? What about the 100%? I sent an email yesterday that says something like, why is the text more?
After 3.
Axel,
Axel, can we talk after 3?
I just want to have unicorn in the front.
Hold on.
Unicorn, rainbow horn.
After 3?
Yeah.
These are Woody Wise couple.
Oh.
Did someone just...
Oh, Axel's pinned.
Axel, how did you do that?
Thing.
A Woody
A lot
Wise.
of things I did. A lot of computer stuff I did to do that. Guys, is this one better?
What?
Is this one? Which one should I use?
WW.
Oh, okay.
Who's WW? Woody Wise. WW.
Did somebody have a
This
question
one?
about Wordly Wise?
Yeah, I think you can use the Woody Wise one.
Oh, I see now. Okay. Axel, that is really interesting.
It just looks like a, but it's giant. What just happened?
I want unicorn.
Axel, you're in
Sam.
the Worldly Wise book.
Unicorn.
Yeah, I'm in the world. Is that friend of yours?
Yeah. Next year,
When we were playing together?
Yes, this morning.
Yeah. He made a pretty good house.
You jumped into the Worldly Wise.
You should see it.
I did see it, bro.
No, he finished it.
Sam?
Yeah?
26 people.
Mrs. Min, how are you today? Good, good.
You guys want to play at 4 o'clock?
a good day.
26
You
people.
feel like giving a pet update?
Sam? Can you at 4
We
o'clock?
have, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I can
I have an
play.
update.
Can I play with you guys too? Can I play with you guys too?
Yeah.
20.
Okay, I'm gonna mute everybody and then I'm gonna unmute Mrs. Min so she can let us know how our pets are doing.
Hi, everyone. It's always so good to see you. The pets are doing great. Let's see, what have they been up to? We changed Tara's bedding, and while we were doing that, she was taking a nice stroll around the house. So I have a picture of her walking. So that was good. And this weekend, we will clean the bird's cage. So they'll have their home nice and clean. And the frogs are fine. They're enjoying their crickets. So they're gonna have a good weekend. And Kennedy has really been enjoying his strawberries lately. This morning when we gave him a strawberry, I think he was a little upset and it wasn't enough for him, because when we gave him a little bit more, he was showing us that he was not happy. So we gave him one more and then to do it. So he wanted another strawberry. So they're all doing great.
But just one more and then he was good, huh?
Yes, just one more.
That's funny. Oh, good. Well, thank you again from all of us for taking such good care of them, because
Of
it
course.
certainly is a weight off of my shoulders to know that they're in such good hands. So thank you. Okay, guys. Well, I got messages from a couple people that they weren't going to be able to make it to read aloud today. I don't know. We're going to have a slightly smaller group than usual, but so I think I'll go ahead and get started. We left off with Apple Blossom. Apple Blossom, what? Okay. Had found a great hiding place in Izzy's room. And her hiding place turned out to be among the stuffed animals. So do you recall that she put on a hat and some boots and a coat that was supposed to be on a Paddington bear? You guys remember we read Paddington. Was that this year that we read Paddington, or was that last year?
Last year.
Last year? Okay. But you remember that he had a blue wool coat, so that I'm picturing Apple Blossom wearing the wool coat from Paddington. And
Miss Franklin,
yes.
it was this year.
Was it really?
It was last
Yeah,
year.
it was this year. Well, like it was last year, but like it's still in like.
But your second grade year, right? Not your third grade year.
Well, like so it was in my third grade year, but like last year, so in 2019. Like in the beginning of the year, like
either way, we've all heard the story of Paddington.
Yeah.
So we'll just carry on. Thanks, Ada. I don't know that we'll solve that right now. And so the hiding worked pretty well. Izzy noticed her, but so far the parents don't know that she's there. But she left her hiding place and ended up in the laundry basket. And that, I think, is where she still is. But Izzy has collected a snack for Apple Blossom. So she's going to go back in her room and try to find her again. And I'm not sure what Izzy's planning to do about the fact that her parents are going to call some exterminators. So I guess we'll pick up right there. Chapter 22. Apple Blossom looks through the gap between the woven sticks of the basket. She sees the little monster come into the den and put a plate on the floor. She smells food and feels her stomach rumble as the tip of her nose twitches. It might be a trick. Mama Possum said that monsters leave offerings that are really traps. The little people walks out of the room and Apple Blossom waits and waits. She hears no dog sounds. No noise from people. Through one of the cracks in the side of the basket, she can see the food on the plate. It is driving her crazy. Apple Blossom works her way up through the pile of clothing. Once on top, she balances on the edge of the basket, then swings her body around and climbs down. It doesn't take long before she is on the floor next to the plate of food. All fear melts away at the first bite of the cheese. It's delicious. She follows with a grape. Each new thing is better than the last. Her sharp little teeth make quick work of the crunchy carrots. The best part of the sesame cracker is the dark seeds that coat the crisp offering. She drinks all of the purple liquid in the cup, and it is so much tastier than muddy water. Her stomach rejoices at every new swallow of goodness, but the best comes last. Apple Blossom can't believe the taste of the dark square. Is there a way to describe this morsel of goodness? It is so sweet and smooth. It makes a green snail seem like an old pinecone seed, and every possum knows that a green snail is fantastic eating. It isn't long before Apple Blossom has finished everything in front of her. She lifts her hat-covered head into the air and considers her next move. Something sweet-smelling is close by. She knows that she should concentrate on finding a way out of the monster house, but her escape takes a back seat to her stomach, and she scurries to the area with the sweet smells. The smells come from an area with a water chair and 2 empty ponds. Apple Blossom climbs up a fuzzy cloth that hangs low and leads to a tube of fresh-smelling white stuff. The goop inside is delicious. It's tangy and tastes like the wild mint that grows in the fields by the stream. What a find! Apple Blossom squeezes out all of the goodness. The white goo, with a swirl of red and green inside, oozes over her hands, and she does her best to eat it up. What do you think the goo is? Addie?
Toothpaste.
Yeah. Have you guys ever had the toothpaste that's white with the red and green swirl in the middle?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's called Aquafresh. Okay. The next treasure is right there near the empty pond. Apple Blossom pulls herself up the plastic curtain, paying no attention to the fact that her sharp nails poke small holes as she travels. She reaches a container and uses her opposable thumbs to twist off the cap. It comes right off. What's inside smells like strawberries. Apple Blossom scurries down to the hard white ground and lifts the container to her mouth and takes a swig. And then, alert, problem, bad move. The red goop is awful. It's not the juice of a strawberry. It is thick, foul-tasting poison. Apple Blossom spits up the red slime and it comes out as a frothy mess. Her head spins. She staggers forward, moving in a weaving line around the tile floor. She doesn't notice that the red goop is all over her feet and that she's leaving pink footprints with every step. Apple Blossom does everything that she can to get the nasty sludge out of her mouth. The more she tries, the bigger mess she makes. She grabs the end of the white paper that dangles next to the water chair. The thin tissue spins down in a seemingly endless stream, and she uses this to clean her teeth and mouth. She burps, and pink bubbles float into the air. She's dizzy, and she realizes that she's going to have trouble staying on her feet, so she wobbles back to her spot in the basket. It's a tough climb to the top, but once she reaches the rim, she happily falls into the pile of monster clothing. She then curls into a ball. Oh, look who's here. Hold on, everybody. I'm going to unmute you because Lourdes is joining us.
Yay! Hello!
The meeting should start in
Yay! Hello!
what?
Oh, Lulu. I'm not doing anything.
Give it a minute.
If you wouldn't do anything, it would not do this.
Who's here? Who is it?
Who's here?
Amir's
Who's it? I don't see anyone.
Okay, I see Lourdes trying to join us, but it doesn't seem like it's working. Oh, Lulu, can you hear us? Hi, Lulu.
I don't see her.
I don't see who either.
Okay, well, if she shows up, I will unmute you and we'll say hi, okay?
There's this thing that says start video.
Click start video.
Look, we can move virtual back.
Click start
Okay.
video.
All right, so I'll keep reading, and if we get to see Lourdes in a minute, we'll say hi. Once she reaches the rim, she happily falls into the pile of monster clothing. She then curls into a ball, pulls the hat down around her head, and holds on to her own tail. She tries to imagine that it belongs to one of her possum siblings. And then, with the taste of red slime still in her mouth, she drifts off to sleep. I'm just going to check. Lourdes, can you hear me? Okay, I don't know if you can hear me, but we're glad you're here.
I don't think she has her audio.
Okay, chapter 23. It is late in the afternoon when Izzy comes back into the room. She looks toward the white plate right away. All of the food is gone. This means her little visitor is still in the house. Izzy's heart starts to pound as her eyes move around the room. She sees something pink on the tile in the bathroom and freezes. Is it blood? She moves slowly to the bathroom door. The first thing she sees is toilet paper everywhere. It crisscrosses the room from the dispenser to the toilet to the sink to the tub. There is a large clump of toilet paper next to a puddle of shampoo, which is a goopy mess on the floor. The shower curtain has puncture holes in the plastic. Izzy looks at the sink. The toothpaste tube, which had been full, is empty. The tile floor reveals something else, tracks. She bends down to more carefully examine what looks like a crime scene and sees the prints of a shoe and what looks like a tiny, long-fingered hand. She is now an expert, and this is the track of a possum. Izzy considers her options. She could get her mom and dad and show them the mess. They would help clean it up, but would they be excited to know that her furry pal is somewhere in the house? She imagines Columbo in one of his barking fits and her parents in a full-blown panic. And so she makes a decision. She will handle this herself. Izzy cleans up the toilet paper and the shampoo mess. She does her best to hide the punctured shower curtain by putting it on the inside of the bathtub. She throws away the toothpaste tube and wipes down the entire floor, which is covered with paw prints and boot tracks. Then she gets a book and sits on her bed. She whispers to the room, "I know you're in here, little pal." She has learned from her reading in the library that possums are nocturnal, so she is content to wait until darkness falls to try to lure out the creature. But the weekends are the time when Izzy's parents do the laundry. Her mom and dad rotate the chores, and this Saturday it's her mother's turn to do the wash. Izzy is sitting on her bed reading a book about marsupials when her mother comes in. She goes to the laundry basket in Izzy's closet and scoops up an armful of dirty clothes. She turns to her daughter, "Enjoying the new book?" Izzy barely looks over when out of the corner of her eye she sees something. At the bottom of the heap of clothing, holding on for dear life to a pair of pants, is her possum, still wearing the pink bonnet, blue coat, and one boot. Izzy leaps up from the bed shouting, "Mom!" Izzy's mother abruptly freezes. The sound of her daughter's voice and the expression on her face cause Izzy's mother to gasp, "What is it?" Izzy scrambles to her mom and tries to grab the clothing from her arms. "Give me the laundry!" But it's not possible for her to get the whole armful of clothing, and half of it falls to the floor. There she is. Hi, Lulu. We're so excited to see you.
This is for two.
Yes.
Yeah.
Two. This is for two.
It's going all
This
crazy.
is for two.
Yes, Leo. Okay. I'm going to mute you guys.
Yes.
And then, Leo, you have a question. Yes, sir.
Are they fighting?
Who's fighting?
Apple Blossom.
No, Apple Blossom was hiding in the laundry.
Oh,
And
it
her
looked like
mom-
it's fighting.
No, not fighting. Apple Blossom was hiding in the laundry, and her mom wants to do the laundry. So Izzy wants to stop her mom from doing the laundry right now. But she doesn't want to let her mom know why, because she's afraid her mom will get rid of Apple Blossom. Okay? Okay. Lourdes, just a quick recap. This is about a possum named Apple Blossom, and she's hiding in a little girl's bedroom right now. And the little girl wants to keep her for a pet. Okay? All right. Half of the laundry falls to the floor, including the possum. Izzy's mother sees the marsupial, which Izzy fleetingly hopes looks like a stuffed animal, and she screams, "Oh my goodness," with the kind of alarm that would never be used about a plush toy. She releases everything in her arms, and as she steps back, knocks into the floor lamp. The lamp crashes down, and the clothing pile seems to come alive. The clothes aren't really alive, of course, but the possum is, and it's on the run. Izzy drops to her knees and goes after the moving marsupial, but her mother shrieks, "No, stay back! Wild animals carry disease." From another part of the house, Izzy's father shouts, "What's going on in there?" And then the most dreaded sound joins the symphony of panic: Columbo. The barking dog can be heard galloping down the hallway. It is impossible to know who is more out of control, her mother, her father, the possum, the completely hysterical Columbo, or Izzy herself. Columbo charges into the room, and Izzy stops trying to catch the possum in order to lunge for the dog, grabbing his collar. Izzy's father appears in the doorway just as the possum shoots toward the bed, but Izzy's mother drops the laundry basket right over the possum, trapping the frantic animal. Izzy's father puts his hands on the clothing basket and shouts, "I got him!" which is strange because the possum is already caught. There is nothing Izzy can do. The cat is out of the bag, or in this case, the possum is in the clothes hamper. Chapter 24. So this is how it ends, thinks Apple Blossom. In shadows, in darkness, and trapped. This is her final performance. Her breath slows down. Her heart stops racing, and then the gland opens beneath her tail. She's in the moment and unable to control anything. She falls backward. Her eyes roll skyward. Her mouth opens. Spit comes out. This is how a death scene is played. Chapter 25. Izzy's father now stands right next to the overturned hamper holding a net. He ran and got it from the garage. It was used at some point by Uncle Randy on a fishing trip and then abandoned on a shelf to gather dust and spiderwebs. Izzy's mother left the room and is now back holding a broom and a hammer, which causes Izzy to shout, "What are you doing with a hammer?" Her mother's voice is too loud. "This is just in case." "In case what?" Izzy responds. "In case you decide that a defenseless little possum is a nail?" Her father waves his arms in an attempt to create calm. Okay, that's enough." Izzy's mother looks from her husband to her daughter. "The animal is wearing doll clothes. You've been playing with a gigantic rat." Izzy shakes her head. "It's not a rat, it's a possum, a marsupial. And I didn't put those clothes on her, she put them on herself." Izzy's parents both have uncomfortable looks on their faces, and not because of what Izzy has just said. Her father loosens his grip on the fishing net. "Oh, this smells awful." Izzy's mother nods. "It's like dead fish or something." Izzy doesn't care about the bad-smelling fishing net, although she does realize that the room is quickly taking on a terrible odor. She tries to explain, "The possum is my friend, my pal. I've seen her before through the window. I woke up this morning and she was sleeping with my stuffed animals." Izzy's father inhales big, like he's going to hold his breath before going into a tunnel, and then exhales long. He then says, "This animal does not belong in our house. Wild animals have fleas and ticks and carry rabies. It doesn't matter that the creature somehow got into some clothing. It wouldn't matter if the animal could play the piano." Izzy's mother interrupts. "Well, I mean, it would be amazing if it played the piano. I mean, we could make all kinds of videos and put them online." And Izzy's father stares at his wife. "The animal does not play the piano." Izzy feels fairly certain that her possum is not musical. She doesn't want to reveal the fact that the only talent she's noticed so far is the possum's ability to make a huge mess. If the bathroom is any kind of example, her new pal is an awful house guest, so she remains silent. Columbo has been banished to the hallway, and he is whining with a kind of urgency that is beyond any of his usual meltdowns. The dog's clear desire to sink his teeth into something other than his red ball seems to bring Izzy's parents back to the problem in the room. Her father positions the fishing net over the laundry hamper as he instructs his wife and daughter. You two should step back. I'm going slowly to lift the basket. The animal's going to run. Now it's Izzy's turn to interrupt. We don't know she's going to run. Please be careful. She must be very afraid. Then Izzy's father slowly tilts the laundry hamper. They all wait and wait and wait. Nothing happens. Finally, Izzy says, she's not running. Her father then lifts the hamper up high into the air, which causes the net to rise up as well. They can all now clearly see the possum. The animal is flat on her back, arms stiff and eyes closed. Izzy screams, she's dead! And she bursts into tears as her heart breaks. Her father does his best to explain as he stammers, small animals can sometimes die from fear. They have heart attacks. Tears run down Izzy's face. She cannot believe that the little creature is dead. But Izzy's whole bedroom has the smell of death. It's like the rotten stench of water in an old flower vase, only worse. Izzy's father puts his arm around her, but her mother stays at a distance. Columbo whines louder on the other side of the door. Izzy is able to say through her tears, I want to give her a proper burial. Of course, sweetheart, her mother says. We can find a nice box and we can make a place for the animal in the garden. But Izzy continues to cry. We can't put her out back because Columbo will dig her up, no matter how deep we make the hole. In the hallway, Columbo's frantic sounds do suggest that he'd dig through the earth's core to get at this thing. Izzy's mother nods. You're right. We'll find a spot in the front of the house, maybe in the rose garden. And when we see the flowers blooming in the future, we'll know that she's a part of that. It is hardly consoling news. Izzy leans close to the possum and through her tears manages to say, we are so sorry for what happened. We didn't mean to scare you. Izzy's mother and father suddenly seem to feel very guilty. Her mother puts down the hammer and places the broom against the wall. I've got a shoebox in my closet, and we have tissue in the drawer in the rec room. Nice pink paper. Izzy's father does his best to roll up Uncle Randy's old fishing net. I'll take this out to the garage. Izzy follows her mother to her closet, where she tries to steer Izzy toward a box that was for running shoes, but Izzy insists on a glossy black box that holds her mother's favorite high heels. Izzy returns to her room and lifts up the possum and carefully places her on top of a bed of pink, crisp tissue paper. She is surprised that the furry little animal is still warm to the touch. Izzy's parents are standing at the door waiting. They seem very anxious to get the possum out of the house and into the hole in the ground that her father has already dug, so hurriedly that his back now hurts in the places he calls the L4, L5 area. Her parents seem to need to have this episode, as she hears them whisper, over as soon as possible. Her mother asks, do you want your father to take off the blue jacket since it belongs to your bear, and the bonnet and boot? Izzy makes a face that indicates no. Her mother manages a wobbly smile. No, bad idea. Also, sweetheart, it's probably better to not keep touching the animal. Izzy stops crying long enough to say, can I just have a few minutes to myself to say goodbye? Her parents exchange looks but don't speak. After a few moments, they nod and edge out of the room. Izzy stares down at the possum. She reaches her hand into the box and places it on the little animal as she says, I'm so sorry. What happens next is the shock of shocks. The possum's little hand suddenly wraps around Izzy's finger in what can only be described as a firm grip. Izzy starts to scream, but she stops herself. The possum isn't dead. This possum is alive. Izzy's eyes focus on the Paddington Bear blue jacket. It moves up and down in very small increments. Why hadn't she seen this before? The animal is breathing. And then as Izzy stares into the fancy shoebox, the little possum's eyes slowly open. She looks right up at Izzy, and with an expression that can only be described as relief, her little possum mouth opens and she smiles. It's the smile that does it. Izzy takes action. She scoops the possum out of the shoebox and runs to her bureau. She opens the top drawer, which is filled with soft cotton t-shirts. She sets the possum down, she hopes in a comfortable position, and shuts the drawer. Izzy next goes to her bathroom. She grabs the shampoo bottle out of the trash can and quickly fills it halfway up with water. She tests the weight and adds another inch of water. Better. Izzy runs back to her bed, puts the shampoo bottle in the shoebox, and pads the tissue around the container to keep it snug. She places the top on the shoebox and then grabs a ribbon from her night table. She wraps the ribbon around the box and ties it tight. She is just finishing the bow when her bedroom door opens. Her mother looks in. "How's it going, Izzy? Are you ready?" Izzy, no longer crying and newly energized, tries to look sad, which is hard because she is anything but sad and not an actor. She secures the ribbon and attempts to sound full of sorrow. "Yes, I said my final goodbye. Let's go put her in the front yard right away." Izzy lifts the shoebox and starts for the door. She hasn't gotten far before Columbo charges in. The dog jumps up to get at the shoebox. Izzy's father appears from the hallway and reaches for the dog's collar, but Columbo angles in the other direction and gallops, which is an accurate description of how the frenzied canine moves when he's focused on something, into the bathroom. Izzy's mother takes off after him. "Columbo, get out of there!" The dog's nose goes to the ground as he frantically sniffs the floor tiles as if they are coated with beef jerky. Then, before Izzy's mother can gain control, Columbo bolts back into the bedroom. He lifts his nose into the air, and Izzy can tell that he has picked up the scent because he lunges straight for the bureau. She shrieks, "Get him out of here!" The alarm in her voice seems to penetrate the dog's brain because he is even more anxious as he throws himself against the bureau. His claws scratch at the top drawer and his teeth clamp down on the knob. He is going to open the drawer. But to Izzy's parents, he just appears to be an insane dog intent on destroying good wooden furniture. Izzy's father shouts, "Columbo, no!" There is something about Izzy's father's voice that commands attention, especially when he's angry. And the only thing that really gets him angry is Columbo. Izzy's father grabs the dog by the collar and pulls him away from the bureau. Seconds later, Columbo is out of the room and sequestered in his dog crate in the kitchen. And not long after that, Izzy and her parents lower a fancy shoebox containing a shampoo bottle filled with water into a hole in the front yard and say a prayer. Okay, chapter 26. Izzy asks to spend the rest of the day in her room with the door closed for privacy. Her mom and dad say yes because an animal has died and it feels as if they handled the situation poorly. At least that's what Izzy hears her parents whisper when they think she's out of earshot. Izzy arranges apple slices, cheddar cheese cubes, poppy seed crackers, and roasted almonds on a teacup saucer and retreats behind the closed door. She shuts the curtains that frame her large bedroom window and then makes her way to her bureau and very, very, very slowly opens the top drawer. The possum is sitting, legs crossed, waiting for her. She stares up at Izzy and she smiles. It seems to be a shy smile mixed with apprehension. Izzy gently reaches into the drawer and the possum hobbles with her one black boot into Izzy's hands. Izzy brings the animal to her bed and places her on the comforter. She sets the saucer of food in front of her. The possum seems eager to try a piece of apple. The look on her face shows that it's delicious. She follows the fruit with a square of cheese, a poppy seed cracker, and then all of the almonds. And all the while, Izzy watches, as happy as she's ever been. When she can no longer contain herself, Izzy whispers, "If my parents knew you were here, I don't think they'd be pleased." The possum leans her head on Izzy's leg. It feels to Izzy as if her heart will burst. She has a real pal. It's as pure and simple as that. Izzy notices that her friend has soot on the back of her legs and in her ears. Is it from the chimney? Her neck has a ring of pink fur that smells like strawberries. Dried shampoo, Izzy decides. She leans close to the marsupial and whispers, "You need a bath." Izzy waits until the possum finishes everything on the saucer before carrying her into the bathroom. She fills the sink with warm water and gently removes the Paddington Bear jacket and the bonnet and the single boot. Izzy tries to make her voice reassuring as she carefully lowers the possum into the sink. This is going to feel very warm and very cozy. At least I hope so. Stay calm. A bath can be relaxing and even healing. You've made it through a lot, but this should make you feel better. And that seems like a great place to stop. Okay. I see a few of you have some questions. Hello, Alina.
So it's kind of cool. So at the start of the story, the point of view was from Apple Blossom, and now it just completely switched around to like the human.
It's going back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
We get a chapter or two from Apple Blossom's perspective. Oh, so I have dogs. And then we get another chapter or two from Izzy's perspective, right? Yeah. Sorry about that. Sama.
So when I was reading a book in the morning, there was a fairy book, and one of the fairy was named Apple Blossom.
Really?
Really?
Well, what do you know?
Hmm.
Well, does anybody have an apple tree in their yard? If you do, and you look outside, Henry, are there blossoms on your apple tree that you can see?
Yes, I actually have an apple tree that usually blossoms a lot of the time.
Uh-huh. Do you think it has blossoms on it right now, or is it too early?
It has some this week. It had some this week right now.
It's starting to get some this week? Okay, good. How about you, Nora? Do you have an apple tree?
No, but I have it. There's a really pretty picture and a poem of like an apple blossom tree.
Oh, wonderful.
And there's really pretty pictures in here and really good poems.
Can I see the cover of that book?
Sure. It used to have a cover, but I can tell you what it says.
Yeah, tell me the title.
Okay. A Flower Fairy Alphabet by C.M. Barker, and then there's Blackie. I think that's the name of the author.
The Flower Fairy Alphabet. So it seems as though they've done something with what's called illuminated letters.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is very cool. That's something that we study sometimes with our story of written language.
It's all right there.
And they've chosen a motif of fairies. Yeah, I love it.
So it turns out that the poems and the pictures are.
There we go. Oh, awesome.
Blackie might be the publisher.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing that, Nora.
You're welcome.
Hopefully everybody knows how to go to their library and try to get books. We won't be able to get the physical book just yet, but we could look for that book to download, maybe. Adam, did you have something to say? Thanks, Nora. Adam, I'm trying.
Yes.
There we go.
What do blossoms look like?
Well, a blossom is another word for a flower. And often it means the very first flower that comes out of the bud. And so the apple trees are starting to blossom right now. And the flower will be there for a few weeks. And then you'll start to see the petals fall, and the inside of the flower will actually become the apple itself. So with the next apple you eat, look for the petals from the flower. You'll find them on the bottom of your apple. That's a great lesson.
Oh.
Ooh, yeah. I used to, in my old house, I had an apple tree, and the blossoms would fall all over my neck, and it actually was quite dangerous because it was very slippery. Ada.
I have a Kindle.
Oh, that's good. So you can download books on that. Danny.
Me too.
Danny, I'm not able to see there.
When I do my like chat, I have like to everyone and not you.
Yes,
Have
you have a meeting scheduled with me, and it'll just be you and me, and maybe my dog. Is that okay?
So the chat right now says to everyone instead of just send to.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. Okay, yeah. I don't know why that is. It should be just to me. But that setting doesn't seem to stick.
It might be because I'm using a different iPad than last time.
Maybe. Okay. Thanks for letting me know about that. All right, guys. I'm gonna unmute you so that you can say goodbye to each other. And hey, I'm gonna unmute Lourdes. Lourdes, we're so excited you made it to Read Aloud today. I'm so glad to see you. How's everything going?
Good.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. All right. Well, I'll unmute you so you can talk to your friends for a minute.
I also have a Kindle.
Bye, 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 bye.
Bye.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.
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 Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Talk to you Monday. Bye. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye bye.
Okay. We'll see you guys Monday. 5, 4, 2, 1. Bye-bye. Lourdes, come back on Monday, okay? Same time.